It's interesting because, we were talking about this before we came on air. Like, what the hell is Jurgen Klopp actually even doing these days? Because he's constantly pictured at Leipzig. He's always at these events where he's got to kind of answer questions about the club and what's going on at the Red Bull situation. He was recently at a talk about youth development, which is something that a lot of critics throw at Leipzig because they don't develop their own youth players. And you just kind of glance an eye across the kind of Red Bull empire, and it is kind of beginning to crumble a little bit or crack at the edges. At least the two big ones in Salzburg and Leipzig. Salzburg finished third in the Austrian Bundesliga, and they've been kind of being lapped by, Austria Vienna, but also Sturm Graz. Sturm Graz are this kind of smaller club who are well run, one of the kind of smarter outfits in Austrian football, and they have been kind of running rings around Salzburg. And it's very similar to the Leipzig situation, where, Leipzig have been completely lapped by Leverkusen in recent years, who caught them off guard. And look, we've got into so much about Leipzig's situation, but the fact that they finished outside the top four is potentially an unmitigated disaster for the club this summer, where they're going to have to sell 3 or 4 star players. I know they usually sell key players, but they usually can do it on their own terms. This summer, they're probably going to have to accept some cut down prices for the players, because clubs will know, they have to sell because they don't have that Champions League money coming in August. So if Klopp took this Red Bull job on in the hope of going golfing in Tokyo and Paris and Brazil for much of the year, but now finds himself kind of in front of press conferences at Leipzig or Salzburg or something, trying to figure out why all these clubs are falling apart, it's not quite the semi-retired job, Manu, that maybe he thought he was taking on. And then equally, if it is the job he was kind of hoping to take on, it makes you wonder, well, why didn't he just stay in management in the first place? Because this already seems like quite a just as intense a position.